Zach. Welcome to Academic Writing Amplified. I am so glad that you're here with us today. So, the title of today's podcast and video is, quote, $4,500 is too much to spend on professional development, unquote. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because when we were enrolling our Navigate pilot program, and the cost of Navigate is $4,500. I heard this a lot. I heard like, this is just too much to spend, you know, it's out of my reach and that kind of thing. And I realized that there's really like a mindset shift that needs to happen in academia, and the people who have taken our programs have made this mindset shift. And so I think it's really important to make it like very explicit, because the way that many people, many professors are thinking about professional development and investing in professional development, the thinking and the assessing and the like, should I do this or not do it, the criteria are a little bit off. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So first of all, I want to say that if you want to do academia differently, which is what we're all about here at Scholars Voice, right? Like creating a new, different way to do academia, one that doesn't burn you out, one that gets your voice heard in the world, one that's a sustainable career, not a career built on overwork and exhaustion. If you want to do academia differently, then professional development is not like a nice to have, right? It's not a thing that's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if, or that sounds luxurious and that would be fun at some point, but you know, it's an extra. It's not an extra, it's a must have. As you're trying to create a meaningful, sustainable career, you are fighting so many obstacles. You're fighting the patriarchy, racism, ableism, all the things, right? Like you are fighting a sociocultural structure and way of doing business inside of academia that, you know, makes it harder for you to have this idealized notion, or almost like a stereotypical notion, right, of what success looks like inside of academia. And some of us might say like, well, I don't really want that stereotypical version of success. I'm going to define success for myself, which is yes, definitely. But we are not like immune still to the pressures to do academia in a certain way. A good example, right, is the glorification of busy, right? Like whenever you ask a colleague in the hall, how are you doing? It's like, I'm so busy. And this busyness is like this badge of honor for academics, right? Like we're just working all the time. We could always be working, so that means we should always be working. That kind of, you know, context, right? That's like the norms through, you know, in which we live. So if you want to act differently and do things differently, then you absolutely need support to do that. And, you know, I use the term professional development to describe what we do in Scholars Voice and in our programs, but really like it's also definitely has a personal development byproduct almost, right? Like the other product is that personally you will also be developing yourself as a human as you progress through our suite of programs. And you know, professional development, we might think of it in the way that our university thinks of it, which has traditionally been like one-off workshops for professors. Like that's really what professional development means in many institutions. And that's because like the institution itself, remember, it's built on all of those assumptions. It's built on the glorification of busy, right? It's built on overwork. It is structured on that. It rests, it needs your overwork, right? So the institution doesn't really have a motivation for providing you with professional development that helps you say no to things, that helps you set boundaries, that helps you imagine or reimagine what your role in academia should look like. There is no motivation from their perspective to do it. And I don't think like, I mean, institutions are made up of people, right? So, I'm not saying that everybody in admin is evil or that they don't care about you as a human. What I'm saying is that the institutional structure is not built to support you in the way that you need to be supported. So institutions offer professional development programs, and it's like, oh, we brought a speaker in for one day, right? Or we offered a 1 hour workshop on how to set up your, how to set yourself up online for submitting articles. Or a lot of professional development, things that get categorized as professional development, is actually all about how to get research funding, right? Because institutions need research funding. So like they understand, or they think they understand, right? Like how to support you in that. So if you're at a university that is a research one, or that supports research, or is like one of these universities that's trying to transition from a SLAC to a research university or that kind of thing, universities will often like fund positions inside of a research and development center for helping you to write grants and find grants and that kind of thing. But that's not what we're talking about. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about professional development. What I'm really talking about is changing your perspective on your career so that you can make it exactly what you want it to be. Now, that sounds like a kind of like a big and vague idea, which it is. But we have a process for helping you to do that. And the first step in that process is Navigate. And Navigate is a program that helps you to clear your publication pipeline and to publish at the level that is like in line with the contribution that you can make to your field. So that is a very different, that is the first step. Once you complete that step, you're ready for like the next level of problems you need to solve. They're all really good problems, right? But once you've curated your pipeline and you've made room in your schedule for thinking and writing and publishing, once you have that done, then you can really do the big things, and you can like go to the next level in your career. And you get to have the space and the time and space to imagine what that next level might be. And we really help people do that in our Elevate program. But anyway, back to the $4,500 is too much to spend. So institutions have these one-off things. They don't necessarily know how to help you, right? A lot of times these one-off workshops perpetuate traditional approaches to success in academia that actually rely on your overwork or the just work harder kind of mentality, right? Just do more. Here, just keep doing more. More is more, right? And our philosophy, especially inside of Navigate, is less is more. Actually, curation is more. So doing things alone, like trying to make changes in your career or live out a career that looks different from your advisor's career or from kind of that traditional view of the academic professor, doing that alone and without support is like unsustainable for people. And first of all, it's just like undoable for most people. Without coaching and without group support and without training that happens over more than just like one day, right? Like it's like a sustained journey that the training takes you on. You really, it's very, very hard to make real and lasting change. I don't want to say that you can't do it. And you do not have to do it with us, right? Like you can do it with some other, professional development organization or coaching group or coach. But it's really hard to do it alone. And it's also ridiculous. Like why do it by yourself if you could do it with the support of other people? People who are outstanding need outstanding support. And that's something that I think we really need to just like admit to ourselves and really create a culture of supporting each other and being okay with getting support, saying, I don't know how to do this. I want to do it differently, but I don't know how. And then taking that action to really do something differently, right? Like do your career in a different way. If you want to disrupt the status quo, you're going to have to invest in professional development. All right. So you might be like, great, you convinced me. I need professional development because I want to be a different kind of professor. I want to achieve differently. I don't want to overwork. I don't want to work the weekends. I want to continue to develop without burning out, right? Like, so maybe I convinced you about that, or maybe you're nodding, right? But still, $4,500, a lot of people tell me, is too much to spend on professional development. So I want to break that down a little bit. So in academia, coaching is becoming like more and more common and more accepted as a form of professional development. This is a change we've seen in the industry from when I started in 2017 to when I'm making this video in 2023. More people know what coaching is. More professors know what coaching is than ever before. Coaching as an industry has evolved and developed. It is a rather young industry, but it has definitely like come a long way from in 2017 when people didn't really know what coaching was, or professors didn't know what coaching was. But because academic institutions are unfamiliar with the concept, or academic institutions are like slow to catch up to things that are happening, unlike businesses, right? Like businesses, like C-suite coaching for people who are, CEOs, CMOs, CFOs, all of those kind of people in the C-suite, and even in management, any kind of management inside of business, coaching and training is like part of something you're doing all the time. It's like just part of the culture of many businesses, where of course, if you're in an upper echelon position of your business, of a business, you are going to, the business itself wants you to be your best, right? And so people get coaching and professional development in business all the time, but we don't quite have that same culture of professional development, coaching, continuous improvement inside of academia. And if we have the belief that we should have continuous improvement, we don't have a common belief in what that mechanism of improvement should be, what it should look like. In fact, most of the time, what it looks like or what people think it should be is just work harder. If you were smart, you would figure it out. Which is very terrible, but is kind of the belief that a lot of people have, right? Like, well, if I was smart enough, or if I just was willing to work harder, if I wasn't lazy, if I didn't lack motivation, then I would be able to get all my publications out. But it's not about any of those things. All of that is just like stereotypical BS, actually. And so, professors often think that investing in professional development, because it's not kind of part of the culture of academia, professors often think that it's like, they think about it from the wrong perspective. So you're looking at $4,500 to pay for our Navigate program, for example. $4,500, you're looking at that number in relation to your monthly income as a professor. And actually, that might be the same. $4,500 might be more than your monthly income as a professor. When I was a professor, at the top of the pay scale, I made $6,000 a month, and I took home about $4,000. So if you look at that $4,500 number and your point of comparison is your monthly take-home income as a professor, of course it's going to be like, that's a crazy amount of money. No, I can't do that, because that means for a whole month of the year, I can't meet my expenses, right? That is where I think that $4,500 is too much to spend on professional development is coming from. But that is not the way to look at a professional development investment. Instead, you need to look at that $4,500 in the context of your entire career. Okay, so improving your career for $4,500, your career is worth so much more than your monthly salary. In fact, in just salary, over the course of 30 years, okay, if you work as a professor for 30 years, you might make $2 million just if you just in your monthly salary, right? In addition, though, some people will make more than that, some people will make less, but you're talking about over $1 million in salary. Okay, so I want you to think about that $4,500 in relation to the entire salary and more, though, because the value you bring to the world and to many people around you is so much more than even the sum of all of your paychecks. So the value that you bring, like think about this. The value of your career includes all the value that you bring to students by delivering amazing courses and teaching and learning moments for them and research opportunities for them. You could probably, if you work a lab or if you get grants, you actually create jobs for people. You create jobs for students, you create jobs for staff. Like you create work for people. It's like having a small business, except not, right? You are a creator of employment. So that's a huge value add to your university, to your town, right? To your field as well, right? Also, like you are creating value at your university by making your department more valuable, right? And attracting more students and really, like you're creating a lot of value in the world. And on top of that, if you ever do grant getting, you got to add all those grant dollars in as well. So we're talking about the value of your career being somewhere between millions of dollars, right? 2 to 5 million, more than that, millions of dollars, plus the intangible value that you give when you improve the life of a student, for example. Right? So it's not just monetary value, but it's like the value of the creation, the knowledge creation that you're making, that creating knowledge, making knowledge, it's hard to put a dollar sign on that, right? It's kind of, you cannot express the value. So it's somewhere between a couple $1 million and immeasurable value is the value of your career. That's the number you need to compare the $4,500 to. That's the number you need to compare the $4,500 to. You can't think of it like in relation to your mortgage, because it's just not the same. You're comparing the wrong things. The context for the investment is the wrong context. You create this huge amount of value. Your career builds value as you move through it. And it's just worth way more than your salary. And it's certainly worth way more than your monthly salary. And it is absolutely worth being supported by a $4,500 coaching program that will help you achieve your goals, right? Think of that $4,500 in relation to the total value that your career creates. And it looks different. It looks like a drop in the bucket. It looks like a really leveraged investment where you put in this little amount and you get so much out of it. And what I mean is that when people do Navigate, the purpose of the program, the stated purpose of the program is to help you clear your pipeline so that you can get your voice heard in the world to the level that is in line with the impact that you can make. So if you're sitting around thinking like, I know I can be more than this, I'm sitting on a ton of data, I'm sitting on a bunch of articles that are halfway done. If you're sitting there with all of that and that once those articles are out, you're going to really start having a voice in the field and making an impact, and that's the base that you need to continue along the path that you want, which is to continue to do your work, continue to have your work change the lives of people who are affected by your research. If that's what you want, the $4,500 is just like a really tiny piece because it has this lasting impact on your career. So I want to also kind of give you one other way to think about that $4,500 that a lot of people don't think about because they're looking at $4,500 in relation to their monthly professor salary. You got to think about that $4,500 in relation to your university's budget And then it really is a little tiny drop because, you know, even universities that are crying poor are spending millions of dollars on many things. So your little $4,500 investment, which is going to increase your value to the institution by helping you to develop professionally so that you can meet the goals that the very, like, let me say, the very aspirational goals you have for yourself. Because I know that none of you who are going to apply for Navigate are like just trying to get by. Like, nobody's eking by. These are, all of you are people with, you know, lofty goals that you really want to achieve and accomplish, who are driven. You're just exhausted because it's hard, because you're, again, back to the beginning of what I was talking about today, right? Like, you're trying to do academia. Either you're trying to do it like your advisor or people who've come before you, which is that model of overwork and just work harder and everything, and you're failing because that is unsustainable and ridiculous. Or you're trying to do things differently and you're not having the results that you need to have yet. And for both situations, Navigate, I mean, we created it to be the first step program for a reason, because once you get that confidence around getting publications out, once you have a method for doing so, once you have like a real like way to make decisions about your career that put you in the driver's seat of your career and really give you like an agency and control over what you're doing, once you have that, you can't unhave it. And that is what's really going to like help you kind of skyrocket in your career. Or let me say, like, some of you, the word skyrocket is gonna be like, yes, that's what I want. And some of you are gonna be like, actually, I don't want to skyrocket. I just want to feel better. I want to be impactful and feel better while I'm doing it. Also that, you know, also that will be accomplished when you do Navigate. So, you know, this is when you're thinking about investing in yourself for any reason, you gotta like put the investment in the right context. And if you continue to put the investment in the context of your monthly salary or even your yearly salary, then you're going to have a concept. You're going to say $4,500 is too much to spend on professional development because you think that your worth is your monthly salary. And it's not. It's so much more than that. And it can be even more. We know, right, that publications are the currency of academia. So if you want to increase your currency, you increase your publications, right? And that is a really, it's a leveraged investment. It's a small amount that's going to have a big payoff for you in terms of exactly what you want payoff to be, in terms of what payoff means to you. So that is my reconceptualization of investing in yourself and investing in your professional development. I want you to know that our Navigate waitlist is waiting for you. So we would love for you to sign up for the waitlist for our Navigate program. And that way, as soon as we open the doors for enrollment, which we are going to be opening soon for our May enrollment, if you're listening live or in real time or somewhere around March, April 2023, we will be opening soon for our May enrollment. And the way to get access to our enrollment process is by getting on the wait list. So you just need to go to scholarsvoice.org/navigate. Click on the pink button that you'll find on that page that says join the wait list. Put your name and your email in there, and you will be the first to know about when our enrollment process opens for Navigate. Now, Navigate is an application only program. The reason it's an application program, and it's actually at least a two-step application process, 3 if you count the wait list. The reason for this is because we are curating a community of support for you. So we really want people in Navigate who are all in, who really want to be there, who are ready to make a change in their career. And of course, summer is a great time to do this because I know many of you have writing goals for over the summer. And Navigate is a 12-week program that fits right nicely into the summer months. So please go ahead, click through, get on the wait list for Navigate, and I hope to see your application. Take care. Bye.